We're back up on the mountain this morning, and we have a swarm that we caught at John's friend Gary's house. We picked it up last night. A few weeks ago, John called us one day, and he had seen a giant swarm in a cedar tree at his house. And he had sent us a picture, and we looked at it and said, yeah, that's a giant swarm, but it's really way too high up in the tree for us to get. So we were, disappointed that we couldn't do anything with that one. But we did have this swarm box at his friend Gary's house that's just up the road. And a couple of days after that, Gary called us and let us know that there were bees in his box. So we don't know if it's the swarm that was in the cedar tree or not. But when Roy took this box down last night, it was very, very heavy. So we are going to end up putting this colony of bees on John's farm. And in fact, we have a new hive box that you can see right beside the swarm box that we had our friends paint up with scenes from John's farm. So the scene on the front of the box is John's dairy barn, and on the back is one of his national champion goats. So we'll show you that a little bit later. So this is looking pretty good.
Still a little bit cool this morning.
Yeah, it is still a little bit cool this morning. I think it's in the low 60s, and so that's a little bit cooler than what these girls are used to. We got them from, like I said, John's friend Gary's house, which is down close to Burlington. So it's probably 10 degrees warmer where they were than where they are now. But yeah, we will keep these girls in the swarm box here for a couple of days, and then we're going to move them into the hive. And we're going to leave them up here on the mountain for a couple of weeks before we actually put them where they're going to stay on John's farm. Gary's house was a little bit too close to John's farm for us to just move it. Boom, boom. We were afraid that the bees would just try to go back to Gary's house. So they're going to be up here with us on the mountain for a couple of weeks, and then eventually they're going to be down on the farm. Best we could tell, this swarm had been in the box about 3 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. Not exactly sure. I'll get out of the way.
I did put just a tad of smoke in the front of this box just a few minutes ago.
Trying to do it without disturbing the bees too much.
Oh, they're going to be disturbed. There's a mess of bees about to come out of here.
Bunch of bees.
I see honey on the top.
Oh, wow.
Lots of brood. There's a mess of bees here. These girls right on down here.
I'm just stepping away a bit. We don't have our queen marking stuff, so we're not really going to look for the queen, are we? I mean, we see signs of a queen.
No, as much brood is there. We know we got a queen. She's been working, doing a good job. We brought this box up here and set it out 3 days ago, 2 days ago.
Monday night, and today is Friday. So they've been here 4 days. Just so they could get used to being up here on the mountain a little bit.
And there's lots and lots of bees, lots of brood. When I took this box down, I told Shirley, I said, man, that's a heavy box. So we knew it was going to be full, and there's lots of bees in here. I see they like my microphone. With a band of honey across the top. See it on that side. A fair number of drones in here. Drone cells just in the middle of this frame. Lots of brood. I see larvae down in there on this one. John sent us a picture from his farm. He's the one that's got the big tree out in the front yard that's full of bees, and then they've moved into another tree also, and we've caught several swarms there over the last 2 years. This is the 3rd year we've caught swarms up at John's house. And we had put this box over at his friend's house, Gary, which is about 1/4 of a mile away, maybe, as the bees fly. And John sent us a picture, and it was a huge swarm of bees. I mean, just a huge swarm of bees. But they were way up in the tree. And he said, man, it'd be great if we could catch those. I said, yep. I'm not going to bother with them up in that tree. Well, we had already caught 3 swarms at John's house. So all of our brood boxes, swarm boxes were down, but we still had one over at Gary's house. And about 3 days later, Gary called up and said, hey, you got bees over here. So we're thinking this might be that big swarm that John had sent us a picture of. You know, it's a good possibility. So there's lots of bees here. That's the queen's been working hard. That whole side's full of brood. This, you know, this side's brood. Lots of honey band across the top. So they've been working hard.
And they've drawn out all that comb, that really light comb is all new too. I think we just had starter strips in most of those frames.
If you're wondering about that stool being so crooked, I had flipped this hive over to the left here. When I put it in, I slipped it over to the left, and I had that stool sitting there. So their opening was a little farther over this way. Now I pulled this box back over here.
But it was level before you moved it.
Yeah, I had pulled it up there and leveled it. I'm trying to get the attractant out of this box here. I've never seen them get that stuck in there so tight.
Yeah.
So that's our 2 vials
And hand it to me and I'll take it away.
of lemongrass oil. So we'll take them out. And now we'll set this right down in front here, so the bees will be able to crawl right into the opening here. And I got a smoker here somewhere. girl's pushed up tight here. Go down. All right.
Now, how many frames do you want to add? Those are pretty well all drawn out, aren't they?
Yeah, give me about 3. 3 of the bigger ones, longer drawn out.
That one's broken.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Broken in transport.
These are old cones that they been used before. We throw them in the freezer and then set them aside. This one kind of got broke a little bit, but they'll put that back together.
One more.
It won't be pretty, but they'll get it back together. Lost my smoker.
And the bees on the front of the box are already marching in inside the hive. It's pretty cool.
One thing we forgot on this box is we didn't have a divider board for it, or a follower board. So I'm going to have to take this box apart and get the one out of it.
There's no bees in that other box yet.
You know what? I think I'm going to give them, that colony's doing so good, I'm going to give them two of these frames also.
That are already drawn out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've drawn all that comb out, looks like. That was in the swarm box. That's a bunch of bees.
The bottom part of this box is all standard plans from Dr. Leo, except it doesn't have the tongue and groove in these boards. We did it with a biscuit cutter and put biscuits in there to line everything up. And then this box,
The
lid here, we made the sides deeper. We put a piece of 1/4 inch plywood here and put a piece of insulation board in the top. Up here in the mountains, we worry about it being cold, but in the rest of the state, we have a lot of really hot days. So I'm more worried about the heat in the summertime at home than I am being cold in the wintertime. So this box is going back down to John's house, so it's going to have extra protection from the heat by having that insulation in the top. This other one is Dr. Leo's insulated hive. So it's basically a box in a box with wool in between. And I actually, on these, I put a piece of 1 inch foam board. It's what I had in this. So when I built these, I said, Our boxes, our old 14 frame boxes, were doing fine. That were made out of the 2x material, but I wanted to put insulation in the top. So this is one of the first ones. The other ones at Gene and Jody's house that we showed a few weeks ago. So I'm just trying these out and see if I need to go back and retrofit some of my old boxes or just start building them like this from now on. So those bees, now that I've closed the top up, that's going to make the queen scent even stronger. And you can see them going into box there pretty quick. There's 200 or 300 bees there. And it won't take long. They'll all be inside of this hive. So that's all it is to doing that transfer there. And we appreciate you coming and watching our channel. If you don't mind, give us a thumbs up. Share it with your friends that are beekeepers or kind of interested in becoming beekeepers. We think this is a good option for a lot of people. We still belong to a local bee club. And they all, you know, they don't say it right out to our face that we're crazy for doing this. But we're not pollinators. We're not moving our boxes around to pollinate. We're not selling bees. And we don't care if we get any honey or not. You know, we're not into honey production. If you're doing those three things, you might want to think about using the Langstroth boxes. But for ease, not having to pick up heavy boxes and move them around, Dr. Leo's books that he's edited, they talk about going in your hives 2, maybe 3 times a year. We believe in letting God take care of his bees. We're just giving them a good place to be since all the trees get cut down and so much land gets developed, and it gives the bees less good hollows to live in the trees. So we're just providing them a nice place to live and let the bees take care of themselves. So if you like this content, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell, and you'll know when we're doing the next one. Thank you.